Wake Up Wake County, the Wake County League of Women Voters, and the North Carolina Center for Voter Education present the 2011 Raleigh City Council Candidate Forum.
After these rounds of questions, we will open the forum to questions from the audience. Please keep all questions to the point, and please limit any preliminary explanations to your question. The questions must be directed to a district, not to an individual candidate. That is our timer here. Okay, and I will be timing, or she will be timing, the questioners from the audience as well as the responses from the candidates. And also, because we're trying to get a lot done in a reasonable amount of time, everybody who lines up may not get an opportunity to ask the question. I will have to, at some point, cut it off because we will have to go to the closing statements. Okay, now, speaking of closing statement, each candidate will have a minute and a half for the closing statement. And we will be adding the candidates from the unopposed district seats B, D, and E will also be invited to give a closing statement. Okay. I was going to try and do something really creative with the order in which the candidates give their statements, but I think we're just going to do alphabetical order because it's just too many people. Okay? But within a group, I will try and rotate who goes first. Hey, it's pretty good, 10 minutes to do everything. All right, so if we would just start with the 15-second introductions. If you want to stand up, you can. If you want to sit, you can. I think there's, unfortunately, only one mic per table, so you're going to have to pass the mic down, and I will be helping you with that. Okay?
Well, first candidate, I want to use the mic. Hi, I'm Randy Stagner. I'm running for the District A City Council seat, currently held by Nancy McFarland. I'm a retired Army colonel. After 28 years of service, my wife and I chose to live here in Raleigh. Most of my time was down at Bragg. And my top three priorities are public safety, transit, and water.
I'm Gail Wilkins. I've lived here for 37 years. I'm District A.
Could you use the mic because it'll be easier for the people.
Okay, I'm sorry. Don't record. Let me start over then.
Yeah.
I'm getting an advantage here. Hi there, I'm Gail Wilkins. I live in District A. My husband and I have lived here for 37 years. I'd like to scrutinize the budget so we can analyze some efficiency issues pertaining to the CAT bus system, as well as their scheduling and how efficient we're going to be with the transportation system there. I'd like to talk about the areas of crime, particularly the areas that they're escalating. Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Corey Branch. I'm a native resident of Southeast Raleigh. I'm running on behalf of the citizens of Southeast Raleigh to improve the lives in economic development as well as community involvement. It's all about collaborating. Until we start working together, nothing will improve.
Good evening. My name is Sheila Jones, and I'm running for Raleigh City Council District C. And I have been in Southeast Raleigh working for a long time. My three main goals is job training and job sufficiency and gentrification and transportation. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Paul Terrell. I'm also running in District C. As far as the Southeast Raleigh aspect, I live north of the Beltline. I live in the Headingham area. So I'm actually running to represent the entire district, not just Southeast Raleigh. Mine are public transportation, public debt, and public safety. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Eugene Weeks, appointed to the City Council, October 2010. My main objectives will be transportation and transit needs, youth initiatives, and small business loans to create more jobs.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Raquel Williams, and I am new to the political realm. I am a community advocate for 13 years, and my top two priorities would be economic development and crime and public safety for Southeast Raleigh. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mary Ann Baldwin. I'm running for my third term as an at-large counselor. My top priorities are economic development, transit, and gang prevention, and also working with others to move our city forward. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Paul Fitz. I'm running for city.
Move the mic just a little bit away. Yeah, and not, yeah.
How about that?
That's good.
All right, sorry about that. I'm Paul Fitz. I'm running for city council at large. My top three priorities are job creation, debt reduction, and also public safety. I'm also endorsed by the Raleigh Regional Realtors, the Home Builders Association, and also the Police Association. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Russ Stevenson, running for my fourth term on council. Over those years, we've become nationally #1 ranked in jobs and careers, #1 ranked in quality growth. We have the highest possible credit rating and the lowest cost of services in the Triangle. That is a record of excellence that I hope to continue in the upcoming term. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nancy McFarland. I am running for mayor, and I am so proud to be part of the team that has created this incredible city. We are #1 across the country in many different things. I'm also the owner and CEO of a local business that was just selected best small business in the Triangle, and I want to further our economic vitality by bringing all that experience. Thanks.
Good evening. I'm Billy Redmond, running for Raleigh Mayor. 30 years of successful business and community leadership. I'm focused on jobs, strengthening the local economy, education, and on fiscal stewardship.
My name is Randall Williams. I'm running for mayor. I really want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. It does my heart good to see people participating in democracy like this. My main priority is job creation so that we can maintain a tax base, so that we can maintain the quality of life that we all enjoy. To me, many of those things are like the Dick's property, keeping it a natural habitat. Thank you.
Okay, great. I know everybody's kind of like wired to go here, so maybe we can just take a breath and we'll start with District A. Okay. I have a few questions that we prepared for each district. The first question, and we can just go and have Randy Stegner answer the first one first. Falls Lake has been declared impaired, and our pollution flows downstream into the Neuse River. Is Raleigh doing enough to protect our watersheds, and what recommendations do you have to enforce stormwater regulations?
Thank you. As I said, one of my top priorities is water quality. About 30 years ago, Mayor Tom Bradshaw was the guy who actually dreamed up the idea of having Falls Lake, and an idea at that time that people said, why do we need a lake? He saw it as a recreational sort of thing. People today don't ask the question, why is there a lake? The impairment of Falls Lake is not us, it's our upstream neighbors, and quite frankly, the current city council has done an excellent job, along with the mayor, in buying up property on the upper end of Falls Lake in order to make sure that, if you will, the impact from our neighbors is mitigated. There's a lot of silt that goes in there. There's also a lot of phosphates and a lot of nitrates that go in. As far as being a good, if I'm going to talk about our neighbors, also being a good neighbor, making sure that the folks in Smithville and Kinston are getting good water quality. I think that what we're doing here as far as stormwater management is, in fact, doing a good job with keeping the Neuse River clean, making it so that it's still abundant for the folks downrange, and with that, I will stop and yield.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Wilkins, if you would answer the same question.
Would you repeat that question? I
Okay.
apologize.
All right. Falls Lake has been declared impaired, and our pollution flows downstream into the Neuse River. Is Raleigh doing enough to protect our watersheds, and what recommendations do you have to enforce stormwater regulation?
Well, actually, that's not one of my areas, but one of the things I would surely suggest in reference to the stormwater is that we would it be something in which we would teach our community, because I'm a little bit familiar with it because I'm running for the Raleigh City Council, but most of our neighbors are not aware of the level of pollution and the things that we're putting on the streets in our neighborhood, how the water is running off of the drainage from our streets into the sidewalks and causing those levels of pollution. And so I just recommend training more so than anything else is what we should implement, training our neighborhoods and the kids at school as well.
All right, thank you. And you can answer, you'll be answering the next question first, so you can keep the mic. Charging impact fees on new development is a method to help pay for increasing public cost of development. Should we change the way these fees are used in the city in order to encourage growth in certain areas? Do we need to increase these fees to meet growing needs?
Well, actually, I think impact fees inhibits growth. I'm not an advocate of impact fees at all. I know that impact fees are set up so whenever new development comes to a particular area, that because they're causing the level of growth and the transitions that's taking place, that usually those fees are incurred upon the development. But I think that instead, that there should be other ways that we can provide finances for that particular community. So I'm totally against impact fees.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I prefer impact fees to having a new tax on the entire city. The other way to do this would be to charge everybody else who already exists in the city a fee in order to make up for the impact of the new development. I'm for the impact fees. It seems like a fair way to have people who are coming into the city be able to participate early in making sure that we keep this place a quality of life sort of place to live.
Okay, the next question you will be getting. The Raleigh City Council has approved development in the outskirts of the city and into the long-range service area, which will require expanding water and sewer service. Should we limit growth into these undeveloped areas? Should growth be targeted closer in, perhaps where infrastructure already exists?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I would prefer to see more infill occur than to expand out where we're having to put more money into infrastructure, water, sewer, et cetera. Also, it's been made more difficult through recent changes through the General Assembly to, in fact, annex those areas later on in order to make it, if you will, kind of have a scheme that actually works for the city and works for all of its citizens.
Well, in reference to water and sewer and pertaining to the infrastructure, I just think that we need to, when we're talking about sprawling and building new cities or new communities, I think we should be considerate of the water and the sewer that's there and the infrastructure as we continue to expand the city of Raleigh. Whenever I think about land use, I think about infrastructure and that how we use transportation. And when the sprawl is there, we have to find ways to be able to transport people from one community, one city to another. And so the water and sewer is a necessity for growth, as well as finding out about land use and infrastructure.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to have one question that's going to go to individually to each district, and all I'm going to need is a show of hands. You don't really have to explain it. So here's the question, and you can raise your hand or not raise your hand depending on how you feel about it. Do you support holding a referendum to authorize a half-cent sales tax in 2012 or 2013 to fund expanding and improving public transportation?
I do.
And you do not? Okay, great. All right, that's District A. Okay, now District C. Okay. What would you do in your next 2-year term to foster job creation in Raleigh?
The first thing I would do to foster job creation in Raleigh is look at the businesses that we have. And we have successful businesses and we have businesses that are on the verge of, let's be honest, collapsing. So the first thing I would do is bring those leaders together, find out what's happening within their business to make them effective and prosperous. And then those that are struggling, find ways to improve them. And then at the same time, have an incubator for those that are looking to start businesses as well.
Since I work a lot in the community, what I have done and what I feel like that should be done is that jobs need to be, some of the people need to be redirected. And what I mean is, redirection is they might have a skill of one thing, but if there's an overload or overgrowth of another particular job, we need to retrain, do something until we can get jobs coming into the area, and that's one thing I would do is redirect our families and our the people to other skills until we can get jobs into the community, then work with the community as a whole.
I would get together with the Chamber of Commerce, the business leaders, the community leaders, find out what kind of jobs are really needed out there, and then get together with the county and the community colleges and even the universities to an extent, and try to find out ways that we can get the people trained for the jobs that are out there and get the people trained and qualified for the jobs for the companies who want to come here.
Since I've already been in on this subject, I would say that we need to get our business together to find out what we need in the city of Raleigh, continue to work on that, and create small business loans so we can get our people that are out here with these business trying to get more people. Small business create jobs, and we need to start with that, and at the same time promote other companies. And I agree at the same time that we should also think about skills centers or training centers where we can redirect the skills that people have into other areas so they can get hired and do things that they need to do to have a job and a quality of life that they depend on.
I have to stand up because I'm very passionate about economic development in my district. So I have this idea, and it's called, I want to be able to utilize Shaw and St. Aug as the community resources that they are. I don't think that they're utilized enough. I have this concept called the Hustle Man Communiversity. Why? Southeast Raleigh is known to the highest crime, the highest ex-offenders, the highest rates of poverty over the whole entire city. So I want to be able to model the correction enterprise. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I want to be able to model that and bring that into a partnership between Shaw and St. Aug, where individuals who have unfavorable backgrounds can work. So what is the Hustle Man Communiversity? It is a place where we professionalize and legitimize hustles of ex-offenders. So instead of selling knockoff bags, instead of selling, CDs, which they get locked up for, we'll teach them how to manufacture bags, and the community can go and purchase those bags from them. Thank you.
All right, and now, Sheila Jones, you'll be starting with the next question. Okay, how should we proceed with the Leitner Public Safety Center? Would you want to proceed with the original plan to house all public safety departments in one building, needing additional revenue to cover costs, or do you have a different perspective?
As I looked at a few of the things that was going on with the Leitner Center, my question comes up, do we want anything like 9/11 or in New York, housing everything in one center? I would prefer, if we have the Leitner Center, that we have some type of system. If we're going to house it in the same building, make sure that system is well qualified enough that we can get all our emergency equipment outside and be able to respond and no one gets hurt. So my answer is, I would like to see a sufficient and suitable plan for the Leitner Center.
You got two main problems with the Leitner Center. You got location and you got financing. Currently, the city wants to use COPS, certificates of participation. Those do not give the voters a chance to vote on whether they want to finance the center with bonds. Put the bonds on a ballot to give the citizens a choice as to whether they want to finance this system or this public safety center or not. The other part is location. They're picking some of the most expensive real estate in the city of Raleigh to build this place. Why can't they build it where it's needed? Let's say parts of Southeast Raleigh, Martin Luther King Boulevard. If they can find the real estate that's suitable, that would be the perfect place for it. The best visibility helps lower crime rate. When you have police in the area, you have less crime.
I have been for the Public Safety Center even before I got on the City Council. Yes, with the economic downturn, I agree with some of the things that my city council members stated concerning the cost of it. I have visited the 9/11 Center. I think we're talking about growth in the city of Raleigh. I cannot see why we have a #1 in all of the areas, but yet our police force and everyone is spread out all over the city of Raleigh. It is time for us to have one building. I agree to height, and that can be changed. And we have been discussing that on the city council and different things. And as the economic downturn changes around, we still need to look at some kind of way to house our 9/11 center and everything else in here so we can have effective protection for all of our citizens.
Thank you, Paul. That was a really good answer. I would agree with you on that one. I must say that after looking at the budget, looking at the expenses that it would cost us, I thought that maybe Raleigh was getting a little out of hand with the money we were spending. And I'm a little disappointed at the public opinion that has weighed in. I don't think that the public has weighed in enough on that opinion. Do I believe in a synchronized place to house? Yes, I do. Do I believe in spending over $200 million for it? No, I don't. Do I believe that younger people can find more creative ways to think about how to spend this money? Yes, I do. So I would just want more public opinion to weigh in and to have the planning and the plans more in layman's terms so regular people can understand and be able to offer suggestions that are viable to the building of the Lightning Center.
Thank you. And Corey Branch.
Being an engineer by trade, I'm designed to solve problems. And in solving those problems, one thing we try not to have is single point failure. The thing about having one building, there is single point failure, but at the same time, it's all about your infrastructure and how well you put it together. We have to look at costs, we have to look at resources, but we also have to look at feasibility, and we have to look at our police department and our fire department and our emergency services and what best well suits them. So the thing that we need to really look at first is get the people that will be using the building in the meeting, have their opinion, have their feedback, and then from that point going forward, we can decide the best effort and the best way to design the building. It could be one building, it could be 2 buildings, or it could be 3. The money is going to be spent regardless on the building.
All right, thank you. Now, once again, I have that last question, show of hands. Do you support holding a referendum to authorize a half-cent sales tax in 2012 or 2013 to fund expanding and improving public transportation? Raise your hands if you support that referendum. Okay, thank you. All right, District C. Now I'm moving on to... Moving on to at-large. Okay, I'm getting feedback, so I don't know if I'm talking to myself or people are talking to me. Okay, question 1. We live in a time of austerity in the city's budget. What programs are you willing to fight for and feel the need to continue key financial support?
Oh, thank you. I think that public safety is our #1 priority. If we don't have a safe city, I'm going to stand up because I can't see a lot of you. If we don't have a safe city, we can't bring jobs here. We can't sell homes here. We can't do a lot of things that we want to do. So public safety is first and foremost. Another area that I think is really important is our transportation services. We already don't do a very good job with bus service. Letting that go further would be a huge mistake. It also would inhibit people from getting to their jobs and getting to places they need to go. And I've been a very strong advocate of making sure we fund human services. It is a very small piece of our budget, but so necessary.
Marion, you're gonna have to forgive me. I was passing the microphone. I didn't hear the complete question.
Oh no, yeah, just don't hold the top, and I will repeat it for you. We live in a time of austerity in the city's budget. What programs are you willing to fight for and feel need key financial support?
Well, now I'm gonna agree with Mary Ann about public safety, and I was endorsed by the Police Benevolent Association. I do believe that recently the city employees kind of got backhanded a little bit when they had their health benefits cut. So my question is if you want these people to take care of you, why aren't you taking care of them? To me, that's more important than anything else. If a fireman is willing to go into a burning building, I think I'm willing to cover his health benefits. If a police officer is willing to take a bullet for me, I'm willing to take care of his health benefits. I think it's something that needs to be revisited with the next council. I do believe it's not a direction of programs that need to be cut. I think it's more along the lines of projects that are being spent money on. What are the necessities of the projects that we are doing? Do we need to spend $15 million on Moore Square to be renovated? I don't think so. I mean, we can probably scale that project down. That's less money that we have to put into a park. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think everyone would agree that our essential services are called that for a reason. So our police, our fire, our working with the county on rescue, the 911 call center obviously is integral, but beyond that, our sanitation, our water, our sewer, these are critical services that we cannot survive as a city without. So those are all elements that we have really succeeded in providing all of those services at the highest quality, at the lowest cost of combined services in the Triangle, next to lowest of any larger city in the state. So up to this point, we've done a really tremendous job as stewards of the taxpayers' money, and I think it shows in our high quality of life, low cost of services. And so obviously the key services are the ones that would be the last to be cut, but I think we've done an excellent job of controlling costs and providing for all those essential services in a very cost-effective way.
Thank you. All right, Paul, you will answer the next question first. Currently, there's a housing bond referendum on this year's ballot to provide loans for workforce and affordable rental housing. Do you support the city borrowing money for these projects?
Currently, I don't support the projects. I don't support the. I'm sorry. Okay. Forgive me. I'm a DJ. I normally hold a microphone like this.
Okay.
I don't support the bonds in their current form. I'm a mortgage lender. I help thousands of people own homes and buy homes. I've helped them with their debt. So I can tell you there are other ways than just the city being involved and borrowing money to help people in this situation. I don't have a problem with helping people. I still believe that housing is more of a private sector issue than it should be a public sector issue. Your foundation always begins in home, so to speak. You learn to take care of your own budgets. You learn to take care of your own down payment. There's plenty of things that you can do for yourself. And the more self-independence that you have, the better you're going to have, or the better pride you're going to take in that property once you own it. I think that the city has good intentions on doing this, but I don't think that these bonds are right for this time. We have enough debt. I don't think we need to borrow any more.
Okay, Russ, you can go next.
Well, I do believe that this two bonds, but the housing one in particular, is a very important bond. It's scaled appropriately for the tough economic times we're in, but in terms of whether we, the city, should get involved in providing affordable housing, I think if you look at our federal policy, we have a mortgage deduction on our federal income tax. So there is a commitment at a national level to governments trying to help provide affordable housing for all citizens. Now, what we're talking about is some revolving loan money that will be reused over and over and over for second mortgages for first-time home buyers, trying to help them get over the barrier of housing affordability in the city of Raleigh. There'll be some loans for tornado damage for people who have no other recourse to try to get back into their homes. So these funds are not, they're very limited, they're very targeted, and they are, I think, very important to maintain a quality housing stock that will maintain our tax base and help all the good citizens of Raleigh have an affordable life. Thank you.
I do support the bond. A new statistic came out today that said 1 in 6 people are living in poverty in this country. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that people have lost their jobs and now they've lost their homes and they have no place to go. And quite frankly, we need to be compassionate about the people who need our help. You know, this is about maintaining good neighborhoods. It's about maintaining a healthy stock of homes. It's about public-private partnerships. I mean, that's how we get things done more cost-effectively within the community. We work with nonprofits, we work with the private sector to make sure we do have affordable housing. This is I mean, $16 million is a lot of money, but this is a modest bond and it's necessary. Thank you.
All right, and Russ will answer the next question first. The city is drafting a new development code, AKA the UDO. That will create major revisions in regulations and zoning. How should Raleigh use this new code to promote quality development? How can zoning preserve neighborhoods and promote vibrant community centers?
Right. Well, I do believe that one of the most important tasks of the coming council will be to work for the passage of the new Unified Development Ordinance. It is one that will allow us to grow sustainably in a way that protects the quality of life for all of Raleigh's citizens. So when in the past we'd had sort of low-density development that was in greenfields where we spent a lot of money on infrastructure, building roads and sewer lines and water lines out to the distant areas, creating all that congestion for other people who are already living out there. In the future, we will grow more compactly around transit stations so we can protect the quality of life for people who are living in the outside areas now, bring more people in closer where they can walk to more of their daily activities, have transit to get around, and get the added tax value of that higher intensity development around the transit stations that will, once again, it will protect the quality of life and the low taxes for everybody in the city.
Mary Ann?
The UDO, we've already done a lot of work on that. It complements the comp plan that we passed that many citizens put a lot of time and effort into. I think you see a couple of trends going on right now. Right now we have a growing senior population. We also have a growing number of single-family households. This is going to require different choices, and really what the UDO is going to do is preserve choice and create choice. So people can live in a transit-oriented development in a one-bedroom or studio apartment. They can take hopefully a bus or a train to work, or they can live in some of our great neighborhoods in North Raleigh, or some of our great neighborhoods here, historic neighborhoods. So I'm very much in support of the UDO. I think that it's going to do a great job in making sure that we move forward with quality development here. Thank you.
I guess I'll stand this time. I don't think I'm in favor of this, and I'll tell you why. They like to call these things sustainable development, and I'm going to be honest with you, it really should be called containable development. It's true. I know I got a little laugh out of that, but it's true. The words they say are things like you want to contain sprawl, you want to contain this, you want to contain that. I'm sorry, but there's one thing that you can't contain, and that's life. We have the ability to choose what we're doing right now. We have the ability to choose where we're living right now. If we want to drive 25, 50 miles from our house to come work in Raleigh, we can. We cannot just decide that we want to live around transit. We can't make that our choice in life. Our choice in life is, do we want to live in Wendell and work in Raleigh? That should be our choice in life. Thank you.
All right, now I have that last show of hands question, and I will repeat it. Do you support holding a referendum to authorize a half-cent sales tax in 2012 or 2013 to fund expanding and improving public transportation?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. All right, now, thank you, at-large candidates. Okay, and I'm moving on to the mayor now. Even though there's an economic recession, the Raleigh metro region continues to grow. How do we keep up with increased demand for services and increased constraints on revenue sources? Should we maintain our current revenue assessments or develop new revenue sources? Would you support raising property taxes or impact fees?
Well, if those are my two choices, I'm going for the impact fees. Nobody wants to see their property taxes raised, obviously, and we are growing at an incredible rate, and I know that impact fees are not popular, but impact fees help pay for our infrastructure, our roads, and our parks. And as we continue to grow, those are two of the things that are vital to this region. So we are continuing to look at different revenue sources, but for right now, I will say I do not favor increasing property taxes. Thanks.
Well, first of all, let me say I think it's a terrific issue to face. The increased growth and demand brings many opportunities to our citizens. I don't think it's an either-or question, quite frankly. I think there's a multitude of broad-based fees and revenue sources to consider for the way we fund our growth and we provide the essential services for the city. So my answer would be, as the best practices approach, is to look at multiple ways to fund our growth and our needs in the future, that it's not one or the other.
Well, it's a great question, because certainly all around the country and in this state, there's an article in the New York Times on July 4th about Wilmington that as the economic downturn has come, cities are making very hard decisions. My answer would be to avoid those kind of things we're seeing in other cities where they can't purchase fire trucks and they're having to lay off people and cut benefits. That what we want to do is to try to increase our tax base, not increase taxes, but increase. We know 200,000 more people are coming to this area. What I'd like them to do is to come to Raleigh. I'd like those jobs to come to Raleigh. And I'd like City Hall to be the kind of place where businesses say, you know, I really enjoy working with the City Hall down in Raleigh. Nothing against Nightdale and Apex and those places, but if those jobs and people are coming, I'd like them to choose Raleigh to locate so that we can try to avoid some of these either-or situations other people are facing. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Redmond, you'll get the next question. What role should the city of Raleigh play in the triangle, specifically in terms of the economy, transportation, tourism, and housing?
That's a terrific question. And I think the best answer we recognize is that Raleigh clearly is the center of influence. We're the largest municipality in the region. And quite frankly, so many of the challenges we face are regional challenges. When you think about clean water, clean air, our transit system really will only work to the best benefit when we make a set of regional decisions. I think the opportunity is for Raleigh to provide great leadership. Leadership in long-term planning, leadership in facing these tough economic times in the next few years by really being focused on what's important, put our people back to work, grow our tax base, really demonstrate strong leadership both physically and emotionally for our citizens.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the great paradoxes as you run for mayor is people think that the day you're elected mayor, you will have this power to sign proclamations. And so much about being mayor is that you have to work with others. And all these issues you bring up, water, schools, transportation, they all involve regionalism. You have to work well with others. I think you have to engage them. You have to listen to others, because so much of our destiny is a little bit out of our hands when it comes to those areas. You have a part, but you don't control it. So what I would always advocate is being a good neighbor. And as Billy said, I think there's such a place for Raleigh to be the leader in this, to show the right way to do it, to get other people to understand that if you're fair in the process, you listen to everybody, that you engage all the community, that that's the right way to do it.
Thanks. We are really the largest, obviously, municipality in Wake County, and as we grow, we not only we have shown people the right way to do it. We are the #1 place to live and work and play in the country. Everybody is moving here for a reason, and the reason is that, you know, we have shown the country how we could make careful planning work. We have grown by almost 50% in the past 10 years. And through the careful planning that we've done, we have produced this incredible place to live. But it is a regional thing. I grew up outside of Washington, D.C., so I know what large, poorly planned growth can do to an area. So I am looking forward to, I'm on the Wake County Mayor's Task Force of all the municipalities in the area. We're looking at our future transit plans. You know, I'm on the Upper Neuse River Basin Association, so I already have that experience working with all the other municipalities in the area, and I look forward to furthering those relationships.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Williams, you'll have the next question first.
Thank you.
The population of Raleigh and other Wake County municipalities is growing fast, placing increased pressure on our water supply. Raleigh's water supply plan includes spending more than $250 million to dam the Little River. Should Raleigh proceed with the Little River Reservoir project, or are there other options?
Well, again, I think that dovetails on the last question, which is, again, regionalism. When you look at all the different municipalities, all the different counties that have to engage, including the state, as you look at water, then I think that you always have to be looking at both conservation, so I do support the city's three-tiered plan as the people who use the most pay the most. And then I think as you look at new sources of water, that you have to talk with the Corps of Engineers, you have to talk with others in the region, and do what you think in the long term is best. Now, as into specifics, I think that's where you sit down with the council and you come to a consensus, you work with city staff, you listen very carefully, and at the end of the day, for major funding projects that, you know, if you have to, that you turn to the voters to see in the direction they'd have you go. Thank you.
Our future water supply is one of those complicated issues that I've been very involved in. Yes, you know, we are looking at Little River, and that's probably the last thing on everybody's list, but we are continuing to think about it in that what-if scenario. There are so many different factors that go into this. There's not only the water supply in Falls Lake, but there are other options out there that we're looking at. It's not only a water supply, it's a water storage. So there are empty things such as quarries that may be able to help us. There are also state rules that govern things like interbasin transfer. And so as we look at our legislative agenda and also look at all of these different options, we're going to have to not only have knowledge of what's available to us, but knowledge of what our potential is and also sort of our potential obstacles that we have to overcome in the next 30 to 50 years. Thank you.
I think the city of Raleigh and Wake County have done a tremendous job in planning for water and sewer capacity. If you look at the investments made in the last 10 years, it has been a strong commitment and a strong focus. And when you look at the overlay of new rules and regulations, I believe the city has risen to those and done a good job of incorporating what's needed, not just for now, but for the future. I do think that predominantly we are blessed with the right amount of rain. One of the issues that our staff tells us is that we do have a storage issue, that when we have the ability to capture the rainfall and truly store capacity is one of the city's needs. When you look at the Little River Reservoir, then you realize there are a lot of issues that go into making those decisions. And I would say the thing that I take away from that most is planning and timing. Look at how long we've been talking about the Little River Reservoir and the commitment to that. So we need to be clear about our future planning and our focus to meet one of our most essential service needs.
Thank you. All right, I think we have time for one more question to the mayor. The Raleigh UDO draft lacks the promotion of affordable housing in all parts of Raleigh. One obstacle is that Raleigh does not have inclusionary zoning. Should they ask the next General Assembly for that authority, or do you have other recommendations for improving the supply of affordable housing in Raleigh?
Thanks for that. That's a really interesting question, and I have looked at other municipalities to see how they handle that. I went on a trip to Davidson and looked at I'm not sure if they really call it inclusionary zoning, but they do have requirements that are certain percentages of affordable housing be built into developments. It doesn't look any different from the outside. So there are different areas that have addressed it differently. Charlotte, I think that when they put in their transit system and they developed new transit districts, that was a key part of that development. So I think that there are great examples and best practices that we can look at around the country to see how we really do that. Because really, if we look at how affordable housing is spread more evenly throughout the city, it really addresses a multitude of issues, such as schools. You know, if you have that affordable housing, then you already have that balance in neighborhoods and helps with some of our school issues. Thank you.
Well, I'm excited about the UDO. I think that it's going to give us a less complex document to deal with and some certainty around zoning and development and building. And I do think one of the complexities in our community today is affordable housing. And I'd like to say between those two, not just affordable housing, but what I would call really workplace housing, for people who have a price point that they can afford, who really want to live within our city. That's been a difficulty for the last few years, just based on price and availability. I do believe there's some other options available between public-private partnerships as well to really incent the private sector to provide more affordable housing and more workforce housing throughout the city, so that you get the same great housing stock in diverse places and in the different places that people want to live. I believe that those options are available to us with planning and with conversation between our public-private partnerships.
Well, Bob did a good job this past Wednesday convening a group of people to talk about the UDO and the complexity of it. And again, I think one of the good things about that is that, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, we really want to have a place that builders and developers want to work, where they understand the rules, where they understand the process, and they say at the end of the day, Raleigh City Hall is a good place to work with. And I think that goes a long way toward that, so everybody understands to the best of their ability what the process is. I think when you look at the location of affordable housing, I think in a perfect world it would be very diverse. I think, as Nancy said, that certainly addresses some of the other issues we see with regionalism, such as the schools. So I think if you can work it out, that is the way to go. And again, I think that's a good area where the public-private sector works together to make it a win-win. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now, thank you, Mayor, all the mayor candidates for mayor. Okay, now the audience can ask questions. If you would like to line up behind that mic, please be very careful. There's lots of cords around the room, so watch your step. And we will have about 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes of audience questions. You ask your question of a district, not of a candidate. And if too many people are asking all the same district, you will be exited out of the line. And please state your name.
Hi, I'm Annette Bird. Is it possible to ask for a show of hands from all the candidates?
If that's your question, if you want a show of hands.
By a show of hands, I'd like to know, if you're elected to the City Council, would you be in favor of a proposal such as Chapel Hill City Council just did to vote against the current legislature's same-sex marriage amendment? Thank you.
If you, okay. Okay, next question. Please, no applause.
We would like the mayoral candidates to raise their hands about support for transit funding on the for a referendum. We didn't get that question.
Oh, that's right. Thank you very much. Yeah, right. Thank you. The candidates from mayor, raise your hands if you support the referendum for a half-cent sales tax. Okay, thank you.
Lisa Artain, I live in Southeast Raleigh, but the question is for our mayoral candidates. There's been a lot of focus in the news recently about the city's debt levels. And I do want to get your honest opinions on this, because there seems to be a duplicity. Several of you are complaining about the debt level of the city and the projects we're undertaking, but your websites are filled with pictures of all the things that we've done over the last 10 years, and you seem to enjoy it, but you don't want to seem to pay for it. So if you could explain.
So this one, that went to the mayoral candidates?
That's for the mayoral.
Okay. Go ahead.
That's a terrific question. I don't know who's complained about the debt relative to those great things that have been built. I think that the focus on the debt for me has been about future planning. I love what the city has done recently, and we have raised our debt substantially in the last 10 years. It's quadrupled. We've built good projects. We've made good infrastructure investments. I think the city has been well managed. My focus is on the future in the next 10 years. When you look at the CIP, and the request for $2.2 billion, and does not include the Public Safety Center, when you look at the needs and the priorities, that's where my question comes from. As we go into the future, are we planning for our priorities appropriately? Do we plan for that reservoir or the water and sewer capacity or the public safety center? And how do we really make those choices around the priorities to set our debt appropriately?
2 Saturdays ago, Mayor Meeker and I ran 8,000 meters, and we talked a lot about that while we were running. What I would say is that, again, I'm very proud that Raleigh has maintained its AAA bond rating. I think that's a good thing. But as I've talked about, I do think if you hang around the military enough, they talk about situational awareness. And I do think our situation has changed from 4 or 6 years ago, things you might have voted for. And so when I look at our debt load, and for instance, I'm against the public safety building as it was proposed for that reason, but then I'm voting for the 2 bonds that Russ talked so eloquently about. So I think that it's not always 100%, that it is situational awareness, and you have to take, I guess my training as a surgeon is that you take each situation and you look at the data and make your best assessment.
I just want to echo that comment. That's exactly what we do, which is why we have a AAA bond rating. I do want to just make sure I read these numbers correctly, because there's been a lot of talk about our debt. 73% of the City of Raleigh debt is paid for by other than governmental resources. Our water and sewer debt is paid by the water and sewer users of the merged utility system. I believe that's 5 other municipalities also. The parking fund debt is paid by parking fees, and the convention center debt is paid by the countywide interlocal tax distributions. So only 27% of the city debt is governmental, and our debt load of our general budget is only 10%. That's one of the lowest in the entire state. There's a reason that we have a AAA bond rating, and we do look at every single project. Every single time we borrow money, we have a great financial team, and we spend time looking at not only that decision for that minute, but how it will impact the future, and that's why we're in the great place we are.
Thank you. Next question. And which district are you asking?
The mayor candidates again?
No, you need to go. We already had a mayor. You need to either wait or ask a question of somebody else.
Maybe I'll come back.
Okay, great.
My name is Sarah King, and my question is for District C. Our water and sewer infrastructure is aging and in need of some costly repairs and upgrades. What is your proposal for funding the necessary improvements, and who should bear the burden of those costs?
All right, Corey, you can start.
You're very right, it is aging. We also have new communities like the Battle Ridge area and Chastain areas, in which we've reached out and expanded growth. So we have a system in place for new growth as far as impact fees. We also have to look at our overall, I do not believe we should raise our property taxes at all, but we need to make sure we use that money wisely to work on our infrastructure and things of that nature.
And I do agree with Corey that we do need to look at our infrastructure very carefully and how to resolve all the water and sewer, not only Battle Bridges, but we're expanding a lot just in the north, the southeast area in the New Hope Church Road area as well. So we do need to look very closely and try to figure out how we're gonna do our infrastructure and how to develop a new infrastructure or repair the old.
Big thing what we're dealing with is the fact that nobody wants to raise property taxes. Other people don't want to vote for bonds. Other people are against impact fees, but you have to pay for it somehow. And I believe with new developments, developments should be paying for the infrastructure, et cetera, maybe even a little bit more. But when it comes down to it, with our debt in the city, we need to balance our needs with our debt, and right now the best way to do that is probably through bonds.
I would agree with Paul. Quality drinking water is important, and if you don't have it, you can't attract people to live, work, or play. So to take that lightly, I think that is a priority. I am an advocate for impact fees. As a citizen, I think it shouldn't always just be raise taxes, because then that burden falls on me. As a business owner, I want to be able to make sure that I pay my fair share. There's a lot of development going on in Raleigh, and people are making money. And I think if we looked at maybe some business corporate tax loopholes to see where we could evenly distribute the payment for a new infrastructure for water, I would be more apt to entertain that. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Halperin, and I'm asking for, I guess, City Council at large. Okay. I've been out of work for most of the last 10 years, and I find, you know, Mr. Hutchinson was asking who loves Raleigh. Well, I guess I do, but I've got some serious misgivings about it. The city has exploded like a virus across Wake County, destroying the forests.
Can you ask your question?
What? Well, what? I mean, in the balance between choice and need, what can City Council do to encourage the bringing jobs and residences closer together in order to stop this automotive disease that we're in? Because, you know,
okay. Thank you. I think that they can answer that. You want to start, Russ?
I think, Jonathan, the concerns you have are not dissimilar to many folks who've lived here for some time, and contrary to some statements about sustainability, our mission statement for the city of Raleigh is to be a sustainable city of innovation that is going to have benefits for us economically, environmentally, and in terms of social justice. And for folks who are most concerned about the economic aspects of it, jobs, what we're talking about is investing in the green economies. We've got training programs that we've got in place now.
Transportation and
okay, and so in terms of transportation, it means more choices for people. So for the 25% of our population who are either too old or too young to drive, that means public transportation improvements, sidewalks, bikeways, greenways, all of those things that the city is investing in. If you're talking about environment, it means you're not driving to Johnston County to live. You're not spending all your money buying gas. You're not spending your money on all those other expenses and polluting the environment. So our sustainable future is the answer to your question.
Jonathan, you have to forgive me a little bit. Your question is not about jobs, right? I mean, you said you were unemployed for 10 years. Is that correct? Okay, but it's not about jobs.
Well, it's about bringing jobs close to residences so people don't need to drive.
So,
and getting them onto public transit.
So it's more about transit, right?
Yeah.
Than jobs. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm following you correctly.
Well, a lot of jobs, you know, I can't apply for a lot of jobs because they're out beyond reach of civilization, off the transit line.
Jonathan, what do you do for a living? What's your field?
I've been a car washer, dishwasher, landscape worker, busboy, janitor, driller's helper, exterminator, apprentice, van driver. I'm a general laborer, really.
Okay, I just wanted to follow the field of topic.
I
That's
travel
good.
by bicycle and bus. That's the deal.
Okay.
And a lot of employers, they're locating out beyond the reach of
Okay,
civilized, non-automotive humanity.
By the way, Jonathan's going to answer his own question. So, but no, here's the deal. I understand what you're trying to say. Okay, you want it to be everything to be closer in, or you want better transit just so jobs can be here. That's really?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me just give you a little bit of an example, though. A lot of jobs that came here to our area, to this city, came here because of the work we were doing out in RTP. A lot of high-paying, high-dollar jobs, and even the lower jobs came because of RTP. So we can't just say that the jobs in RTP we need to live in RTP because that's where the jobs are. We just can't.
Obviously, we do.
Okay, sorry. My time was cut.
That's okay. There will be opportunities at the end of the forum for you to talk further with the candidates.
One step that we've taken toward moving in that direction, in the comp plan, we have a number of growth centers that we've identified. These growth centers are where we hope to create jobs, attract business, have new housing, infill, so people can walk to their jobs, they can ride their bikes, they can take a bus, making it easier for them to live. So this is something that we're planning for. We're not there yet, but at least we are in the planning stages, and I think that you'll see more sustainable, I know you don't like that word, communities being developed, which will provide people with choices about where they can live.
Thank you. All right, I need a question for District A. Is anybody in line got a question for District A? Okay, all right.
I'm Mike Shaw. One of the things that I've noticed is that there are people in North Raleigh, and I don't mean just along the Beltline, but way out there, who don't really appreciate downtown, who don't ever come downtown. And the question is, and therefore they wonder why we're spending money downtown, which of course has a tremendous, we get a lot of money, we get a lot back for it. But what would you do to help those people out there understand that there is something going on positively down, that it's one big city?
I'll start first. I live in North Raleigh. And I go downtown quite often, believe it or not. And I'm aware of how many years ago we implemented and invested all the money in downtown to change the street structure of the Fairview Street Mall, bringing in all the activities and the programs. I think we've invested a couple of $100 million or something over the period of time in order to make those adjustments for downtown. And so what we're simply saying is that once we get into the city council, we are council people for the entire city of Raleigh, but we also want to bring in programs and opportunities in North Raleigh, like the Farm Fresh or the Whole Food Store and things like that. So we do know that there's activities going on downtown in the city of Raleigh, but we also want them to be spread out all over Raleigh, not just downtown. And particularly the revenue sources that for the last year that primarily large sums of money have been spent in downtown that we could have spent in other areas as well that we needed because of the economic crisis.
Yeah, hi, Mike. There's a misperception in North Raleigh. It's one of the first questions I was asked as I started talking to folks about, okay, why is downtown getting all the projects? I talked to the Chamber of Commerce, Harvey Schmidt, and I talked to the Downtown Business Alliance folks, David Diaz, and they gave me just stacks and stacks of paper of how that's not true. There's been quite a bit of development done up in North Raleigh, very much equivalent with not only what's going on downtown, but in the other districts as well. The other thing that people need to keep in mind is, quite frankly, because of the pricey property we have downtown, that's where most of our property taxes are coming from those Progress Energy buildings, et cetera. Thank God Red Hot's moving into that building. We are getting a pretty good bang for our buck from those folks down there. Mayor Meeker pointed out the other day that 8 years ago, we got like $200 million worth of investment downtown. And that, I'll just be quiet.
Okay, next question. Oh, okay, well, think of something else. Or let somebody else go next. Okay.
I'd like to ask a question of the mayoral candidates. Is that all right?
And yeah, and if you could just state your name.
Okay, I'm Tara Kreider, and I'd like to ask a question of the mayoral candidates. Specifically first, Nancy, just wanted to clarify that I think you voted to support spending almost $250 million on this new Leitner Center, and that without voter approval. And I just wanted to find out, if you would still support that today. And then also, I'd like to ask that question of the other two candidates, if you would support spending that kind of money on this center. Thank you.
I did vote, the last vote that I took on the Leitner Center, we were in the process of moving it along. At that time, I felt that I did not want to throw away the $20 million that we had already spent all on design, moving the police force, moving people out into other buildings, buying and renting other buildings. I felt that we had made a substantial investment. I did not think specifically that that was going to be the final design that we were going to end up with. I thought we still had a lot of work to do. I think that going forward, economic times have changed. We've probably lost that edge. One of the things at the time was we were at the all-time low we felt for construction loans, and we also felt that with the dip in the economy that this was going to be another kickstart providing jobs. Times have changed in the last year. I am open to reevaluating that, and I'm also open to putting it on a referendum. Thank you.
I think there's no question that there's no greater essential service by the City of Raleigh than public safety. And when you think about this past few months, we experienced a tornado that did damage, and we had lost lives in the City of Raleigh. We experienced an earthquake, and we experienced hurricane weather just a few weeks ago. And we know that our public safety people worked in a conference room on card tables. Our city is better than that, without question. So while I'm hoping that we would not, I would probably not endorse $200 million of additional debt today. I think we need to make it a priority and begin to replan and to focus on providing the services that we need, particularly a 911 center and the Emergency Operations Management Center for the safety of our citizens, and that planning should result in the right-sized and the right-priced facility.
I've talked with Chief Dolan, and there's no doubt the need exists for new facilities, but I would vote against the Public Safety Center for several reasons. Again, I think at the time, a $200 million 17-story glass building at one time was $750,000 of public art. I just don't think you can justify that kind of expense to the citizenry. Again, I'm probably a little bit more sensitive to it because I've spent time overseas and been in a building that was attacked when I was in Kabul, that I just don't think it's a good idea to put those people in a 17-story glass building that would be what the military would call a target-rich environment. There are people around the country who would do us harm. You've seen that in Oklahoma City. You've seen that twice in New York. There were terrorists who were arrested in 2008. So for those multiple reasons, I think I would work with the new city council to develop much more functional buildings that met the needs that are very much needed by the city and the fire and 9/11. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next question.
Hey there, my name is Tamora Ender. I live in District A, but my question is for District C. A lot of our federal issues are compounded urban issues such as obesity, lack of transit infrastructure, lack of bicycle infrastructure, and poor air quality. And we especially see these in our lower income communities. And one example is Heart Attack Alley on New Bern Avenue and other examples where people lack access to healthy foods. So simply my question is, what are you going to do in order to have foster healthier communities?
All right, thank you. And Ms. Jones, you can start.
One thing in that area that we have already started doing in our nonprofit is educating the people. We have started educating our parents about obesity with their children, have worked with families about how to be healthy. And also our low-income families really need a lot of education, and that's where that has not happened in that southeast area, and especially on the New Bern Avenue area. So we have really been working closely, and I want to continue to work closely with the families. You have to kind of go out and really talk to all those urban families and really get their trust and their honesty about what they need and how you can come in and help them. And far as the structure of the building, so we have to start revitalizing.
I think a lot of this starts with education of our children. You get to the children when they're young. You explain to them the good parts of having a nutritional diet. You explain to them the needs of exercise, like the NFL has their little 60 exercise program. The Presidential Council has a program on fitness where he has different athletes and community leaders have been appointed to that. But we really need to stay away from, and some people may not like this term, but the nanny state. We really need to try to educate. We need to put matching funds in with private corporations and foundations for that education, try to bring the people in. But really, when it comes down to it, we need to let people live their lives the way they want to live their lives, because that's what this country was founded on.
There are already many programs as we talk about educating on obesity and our health issues in Southeast Raleigh. You got the Hargett YWCA, who put out information and have kids over concerning what they can do about their health issues along with the parents. We have the community, the Ghana Community Center. They are putting out information on that. You have the St. Monica Teen Center, which bring youth in to explain to them about that. We have churches that are going above the level of teaching and to the parents and to the kids about health and awareness of health within their area. And there are many nonprofit organizations. But it is, you might not hear about all of it, but being on the city council and attending some of these things, I see it out here. Southeast Raleigh Assembly is doing a good job on trying to, on getting this information out. So there is information. The part is, do we take this information and use it?
This hits home to me as a latchkey kid growing up in a single parent home. When I came home, there was food and a television. So because my district is majority single parents, I have a large majority of single parents in my district, I would advocate for after-school programs that focus heavily on sports, preferably free. There are some moms out there that have an average of 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 kids. I've met them, they're in my district. I would also recommend Whole Foods, Farmers Market, taking the EBT cards. We have the highest representation of poverty. Our median income is $16,000 and 27601, and they have food stamps. So if we were to have a Whole Foods, which Whole Foods does take EBT, I would advocate for that. Thank you.
Hearing the other candidates, I wonder if this is the district that I grew up in. I remember going outside and playing on parks. I remember riding my bike to church. I remember riding my bike to get a haircut. I remember going down to the park and playing with my friends. I remember a swing set in my backyard. Kids know how to have fun. The things we have to do is give them the opportunity to go out and have that fun and have that time to let out. Back when I was growing up, our schools had PE. Some of that has been cut out. There's things that the city council needs to work with in conjunction with our other partnering civic organizations to make sure that we have opportunities for kids to have fun. When it comes to our adults, we have to look at eating. I was fortunate with my parents. Whenever I came home, they always had a cooked meal. Right now, there are a lot of kids that go home, they don't have a cooked meal. So we have to ensure that we have maybe a Subway or a Boston Market, things that can provide fresh and good food for all of our citizens. So that's the district I grew up in, being a native, and that's the one I want to represent.
Thank you. I have time for 2 more questions, so you guys figure it out. Okay, so who's next?
I'll try to attempt to be brief. My name is Seth Keel. And I am also running for mayor of Raleigh, but was not allowed to place at the table this evening.
Yeah, but really this is not the opportunity.
Yeah, I have a question, too, to be addressed to the mayoral candidates.
All right.
I wish that issues such as homelessness, poverty, and unemployment were being further addressed. How can you possibly begin to attempt to confront these 3 issues when Raleigh has such a significant lack of public transportation? Has a city jobs program or jobs training program even been considered when talking about these issues? The city must recommit itself to the quality of life in Raleigh, and quality of life can't be found when homelessness, poverty, unemployment exist and we do not show a strong commitment to arts and parks and transportation. Our city needs change, and if the youth have solutions, you should listen to us. Thank you.
All right, great. All right, next question. All right, and who are you, which district are you asking?
This neighborhood.
This is District
D.
D.
My name's Mike Reeder.
But which?
And actually, I want to ask a question or show of hands from all the candidates.
Okay, great.
It's an issue that relates to private property use, and it may not seem big unless it's across the street from you or next door. How many people would favor putting restrictions on parking cars in front yards? Just raise your hand if you're in favor of that.
We have some.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Very good. You can talk about it afterwards. Okay, and so the last person will get a chance to ask.
Thank you. My name is Angie Simmons, and this question is for District C. I want to know specifically what plans you have to engage the young people as well as your citizens. I believe Southeast Raleigh has the lowest voter turnout, so I'd like to know what your plans are to get the community engaged, especially your two colleges, St. Aug and Shaw, that are there.
Okay, and Paul Terrell, you can start.
I believe that the first time that I registered to vote, I was actually in my high school library when I signed up to register to vote. I did turn 18 while I was in high school, so I could vote at that time, but you're allowed to register prior to 18 if you're going to be 18 on the day of the election. And I think that's the biggest place where we need to start is on that level where we take all our high school juniors and seniors and educate them and introduce them to the political process, not indoctrinate them in any particular ideology, but just bring them to the idea that if they educate themselves, that they need to go out and register to vote and use the education that they've learned on the issues as well as to their life, and they need to go make that conscious decision and vote for the person who believes can do the best job, not the person who necessarily meets a certain demographic. Thank you.
At Shaw and St. Aug, they do have their own political parties there, and they are very active on both campuses on things they need to do. Common Cause has been very active over at their campus to get them involved. I have been getting them involved. Even before I got on the city council, I registered voters 4 or 5 years ago as they came into that campus over there at Shaw and St. Aug. I used them out for the voting part at the polling places and everything else. Yes, we do need to get them involved, and they also have it in high schools. When I was teaching over to Broughton, you had political clubs over there. So we do have that in place, and yes, they need to be very active, and we are doing that more to try to get them all involved at one time because they do have a voice, and we need to hear their voice.
It was very disheartening to hear the voting statistics for District C, whereas in a district with over 50,000 registered voters, only about 25 to 3,000 people actually come out to vote in these kind of elections. So I would like to see like a model city council where youth representatives can actually represent the district as a liaison to be able to capture that innovation that they have, to be able to speak to the needs that the current youth have. I also would like to look at modernizing the CAC meetings. They're not heavily attended by younger people, so possibly some Skype, teleconferencing, something that infuses technology with these community meetings, I would definitely be an advocate for. Thank you.
I am a Shaw alumni, and I'm at Shaw at the present time. And yes, they are involved in this particular election because I am alumni, and we have been talking. And far as with the youth, we have a, I have a nonprofit which the youth are now very much involved. Matter of fact, 2 of my third graders at Avonsboro Elementary School been talking so much and wearing my button that the school has invited me to talk and speak with the speak with their children about voting and how to talk and where to vote and what it takes to run. So the youth is getting involved, and Shaw has been more interested in this election this year since I have been really promoting it. So I think Shaw and St. Aug will be one of the most this year. They are campaigning and they are getting involved.
While in college, I was over voter registration and education, so I know how important it is to get the students and the youth involved. I've already been on St. Augustine's campus and talked to students as well. I always I've had representation on Shaw's campus. I've also will be going on St. Augustine's campus on Monday, not to talk about youth, not to talk about voting, but to talk about engineering. I'm an engineer by trade. And one thing that we have to realize is that when we talk to our youth, we can't just go talk to them when we want something or we need something. We have to show them that we have a vested interest in them. And once we show that we have a vested interest, then they will take interest in us. That's why I'm running. Those are things that we need to do as we continue to work with all youth throughout the community.
Thank you. Just a couple quick little things before we go to the closing statements. Number one, please turn in your comment cards. That you were handed those when you came in. We want to make these forums as useful for people, so turn them in. That would be very great. And also, all of our politicians have information in the tables around the room, so please visit them before you leave. And I know that they will all be hanging out for a little while afterwards to answer any questions that you have that you didn't get answered tonight. And at this point, I'd like to invite the 3 unopposed candidates who've been very patiently sitting in the audience waiting for their turn to speak. That is from District B, John Odom, District D, Thomas Crowder, and District E, Bonner Gaylord. So they will be able to go first in giving their closing statements, and they have a minute and a half.
Minute and a half. Well, is it on? Yes. Well, let me say that I recognize many of you out there. I'm probably the oldest, the biggest, the tallest, and probably the ugliest. Has been on the council for many years. It has been a great ride for the last 20 years. I do think the next 2 years are going to be very, very important to the city of Raleigh. We have had great growth. I think we've used that growth greatly in a great way. We've done a lot of great things. There are some things that some of us don't like. We have heard the questions. I do think that the growth has slowed. I think that's going to be the impact of our budget. I think that was the impact of our last budget this last time. When I first got on the council, it was $5 to $6 million of new dollars every year. I helped Sig Hutchinson implement the top 10 list the second year that I was on the council because the money was there. The money will not be there as much as it was in the past, so make your choices wisely. Thank you.
Well, good evening. First of all, I'll start off by thanking the League of Women Voters and WakeUp Wake County for holding this forum. It's very important that you get out and know who the candidates are. Each one of you has the opportunity to influence 4 seats on the Raleigh City Council. So that's half the council, and each citizen gets to vote for 4 of those members. That's the mayoral candidate, 2 at-large, and your district representative. I also want to thank you for participating in this process, getting out to know who the folks are. It's been a true honor to serve the citizens of Southwest Raleigh and Raleigh as a whole over the last 8 years, and I really look forward to continuing my service the next 2 years. And to make sure that, number one, that we accommodate growth, but never at the expense of our existing neighborhoods, our rich history, our environment, and our higher quality of life. I also want to make sure that we continue to look at maintaining a adequate water quality and quantity for the city as we grow. I mean, we're going to grow by 500,000 folks. But we also need to make sure that we plan for the future, but we don't have the current ratepayers have to pay for those water investments. And then finally, I want to make sure that we continue to ensure that Raleigh continues to be truly a 21st century city of innovation, focusing on environmental, cultural, and economic sustainability. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for having me and everybody else here tonight. I know it's been, I'm sorry, I'm Bonner Gaylord, District E representative. And I'm actually not running against anyone, which is why I'm standing in front of the dais, instead of behind. And, but the reason I'm here, just like John and Thomas, is because this is important. Same reason you all are here, and it's critical that we all step forward and make sure that our neighbors are getting out to vote, make sure that they're aware of the issues, make sure that they understand the importance of the folks who are sitting up here in front of you tonight, and what they will ultimately do for your neighborhood, or how they might change your neighborhood. These issues are critical. I've enjoyed working with the council the past 2 years and enjoyed trying to explore some new ideas and new opportunities throughout the city of Raleigh, and hope that you all will continue your interest throughout the next 2 years. Encourage everyone to get out and vote, and make sure that everybody else understands how important these issues are, just as you do by showing up here tonight. So thank you for coming out, and hope you all have a great evening.
Just to make life simple, we'll just go down the row for closing statements.
Okay, first of all, I also want to thank the League of Women Voters of Wake County, the Wake Up Wake County folks, and also the North Carolina Center for Voter Education. After 28 years of military service, my wife Deborah and I chose to live in Raleigh because of the excellent quality of life available here. It is that very same quality of life that attracts and retains a quality workforce, both well-trained and well-educated. It's that workforce that attracts a variety of business interests, everything from the high-tech Crees and Cisco's to those supporting industries and retail that help to underwrite our taxes here in Raleigh, allowing us to have the lowest city tax rate in the Triangle and one of the lowest in the state. And yet the city manages to provide us with a pretty good bang for our buck as far as city services. Raleigh is already 400,000 people, and will grow by another 100,000 in the next 10 years and double that in the next 20. Raleigh's success is a result of detailed planning and hard work. I bring nearly 3 decades of leadership, organizational, and management experience to our city council. I will build and support consensus on our council in order to make sure that we properly plan and resource for that projected growth. Again, my top 3 priorities are public safety, transit, and water quality. I would greatly appreciate your vote on October 11th, and I want to hear what you have to say now and always. Thank you.
As we face unprecedented and difficult challenges ahead, I'm encouraged and convinced that we need leadership with diverse expertise, and I believe I have that expertise. One of the things that concerned me is that I do have a human service background, and even as we were talking about water and sewer and stormwater management, I realized that once I'm on the council, that I'll have an opportunity to have all the research and the data there, that I can learn more about those issues. But the reason I'm running for public office is because I have a concern for human service issues, and that's my background, as I said. I've served on the Human Relations Commission with Mr. Eugene Weeks. I've served on the Wake County Commissions Board. I've started a program in public housing community. I've served on Smart Start and quite a few other boards and commissions. That is my background. And so one of the things I would like to say is that once I'm on the council, the very issues that I'm concerned about primarily is crime and public safety, is that making sure that those areas of crime that are escalating, that we can address those concerns. I'm also concerned about the CAT bus system, because I seem to feel, it seems that we need to be more efficient in the CAT bus system so that people will not be just the only person on the bus is the bus driver and not other people, that we can bring in shuttle buses, 12 to 16 passenger shuttle buses to help out with that. And also I'd like to scrutinize the budget for various programs. Thank you very much. I'm Gail Wilkins, and I look forward to you voting for me on October the 11th.
Today you've heard from various candidates all talking about economic development, community involvement, and working with our youth. Those are the things that I'm about. Those are the things that I'm trying to strive to do for our community. We talk about experience. I will go ahead and deal with the elephant in the room. I look young, but I have many years of experience working with people from all backgrounds. I'm a manager by trade, being an engineer. I also have been the president of multiple organizations in which I've led people from all various backgrounds and platforms. Those are the skills and things that I bring. But one thing that I bring too is that I know where Raleigh has been, being a native son of Raleigh, North Carolina. I've seen the growth. I've seen Wake Med Center and how it has grown, which resides in District C. I've seen Battle Ridge. I've seen Chastain grow and develop. I've seen the changes within our city parks, from Roberts Park, Chavis Park, Tarboro Road, and now our teen center. Those are the things that I'm fighting for, but most importantly, I'm looking across the entire city. I'm looking across how North Hills used to be just only thing standing over there was J.C. Penney's, or how Crabtree Valley Mall has grown, or when we look at Briar Creek and there's nothing but trees and deer out there running around. So I have seen the growth of the city, and the thing that we need is someone that can bring all people together to collaborate, to work under one accord to make things happen. So we all need to branch out, make change happen, and vote for Corey Branch on October the 11th.
I have worked 15 years in the communities, especially in District C. District C has grown so humongous. But the most important part is Southeast Raleigh. The main part is the inheritance that needs to take place. It needs to stay where it needs to be. Gentrification is one of my prime goals in District C. We need affordable houses that it can stay affordable houses and not people be pushed out of the city where there is no transportation, where they cannot get into the inner city, where they cannot get to their jobs, but they can actually stay in location. Yes, we do need some validation, urban evaluation for some of the houses and development. But we need to work that out. We do not need to push these people out. We need to bring them together. Transportation needs to be fixed. It needs to be transportation where it can serve everyone in the city of Raleigh, not just in one area. And we need to utilize our transportation. Our lines need to be utilized, and our party buses need to be utilized. All these things need to be utilized and come together in District C. So I represent District C because I have the experience and work with the people. I'm the voice of one with for the people, and by the people. I would like your vote. Sheila Jones for District C.
Hello, again, I'm Paul Terrell. I guess one of the reasons why I'm running is I've been involved with various groups like the Wake County Taxpayers Association. I've been a volunteer on a county board nursing home advisory committee. I've seen many different things in my 10 years that I've lived in the immediate area that I'm in. I've always lived in District C. I've never lived in another part of the city of Raleigh. But when it really comes down to it, it really comes down to the human factor. It comes down to the couple with the child or the elderly lady that's sitting at a bus stop in 100-degree heat out in the open, no shade, no cover, no nothing. Our public transportation system can be fixed, and it doesn't take a lot of money. It just takes somebody with smarts. The direction that the city is going in is really headed in the wrong direction. They are relying a lot on debt, but then they turn around and want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on art just for the Bruce Leitner Center. They want to put the Bruce Leitner Center in downtown Raleigh, where it's the most expensive. And of course, like other candidates said, they want to have a nice, big, tall structure that's a good target. We really need to change the direction of Raleigh. We need someone who's going to represent the entire District C and, better yet, the city of Raleigh in the next 2 years. And the way to get that done is to vote for Paul Terrell for City Council. I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
As I've stated, I'm Eugene Weeks, and I've been on the city council, and I've been working with my former colleagues. And I think the most thing that I've seen in just my 10 months is the effective communication and the collaboration that we have had among each other to try to get things done. I heard my other people that are running for my seat say things that I'm very appalled about, because from what I heard, it seemed that you're not up to date on information that is going on in District C. Yes, things have changed in Raleigh from the time you were little or whenever you were brought up, but life has changed. I think we're all out here saying the same thing. We're looking for a better quality of life for all the citizens in Southeast Raleigh and also in the city of Raleigh. When you're on the city council, not only do you represent your district, but you're looking for a quality of life for all citizens in Raleigh. And if you get one part of it done, you can get it all done. Transportation is one of my big things. We talked about that. Yes, we already have, along with Bonner, we work together to try to get it, and on the budget, we do have not benches, but we have shelters that are coming. I'm tired of seeing people standing out in the cold and the rain. So yes, I ask you to please continue. It's not the experience as much as being out there helping, but vote for Eugene Weeks on October the 11th, and I will continue doing the things that I need to do to make sure the quality of life while our area is still there.
Thank you. For the last 50 years, 5 decades, there has been an old regime that has operated and run Southeast Raleigh. When I first came into this district and wanted to put my name in the hat, I asked them what was the process. They said, you sit down and you wait for someone to tap you on your shoulder. I said, are you serious? They said, we're very serious. Then another guy by, I won't say his name, but he said, if you know what I know, you better take it, because no one is going to give you anything. I'm not the typical candidate. As a single mom, I had to fight a welfare system that wanted to penalize me for wanting to become independent. So I know budgetary constraints. I know what it means to be innovative and create something out of nothing. So I ask you, I don't have any literature back there, but Raquel Williams for City Council, go to the website and look at this heart of a champion and be able to vote. My constituents need to be inspired. And if it wasn't for education, I would not be standing here before you today. I sit and graduated top of my class, magna cum laude, with a master's of public administration, and I'm studying for my PhD in public policy today. So it was only because of those inroads of education that has given me the opportunity to serve my district. Why? Because I have a heart to serve. That's all. I'm an independent. I don't have the backing of the large parties. And I think that's really what it really is about. And I want to be able to give that to my constituents of District C. Thank you.
Thanks for being here tonight and listening to all of us. You know, when I think about what makes a good city councilor, a couple of things come to mind. Effective communicator, a creative problem solver, consensus builder, somebody who listens. And I've tried to do all of that during the past 4 years and serve all of you with dignity, respect, and most importantly, honesty. I'd like to just go over a couple of things that I feel have been my greatest accomplishments. One was negotiating not one, but 2 senior centers. It was the first thing I did when I was on council. And if you know you're taking money away from seniors, it's the hardest job you can ever do. But we did it successfully. They're currently under construction, and I'm really proud of that. And I'm proud of what that's going to mean to our senior population. The second thing I did was work on a youth collaborative with Dr. West, our former counselor from District C. It recently was awarded a $1.26 million grant from the Rex Foundation. And that collaborative was not done with any city money. It's all about collaboration with our Wake County schools and other partners. And the third thing was the establishment of an economic development office in our city, which I think will help us create jobs and attract new industry. So if I'm fortunate enough to earn your vote tonight, I'll continue to serve you with the respect you deserve. Thank you.
First, I'd like to say thank you, League of Women Voters, for allowing us to be here tonight. Thank you, WakeUp Wake County, for allowing us to be here and do this. And thank you all for being here yourselves. You could have been anywhere else tonight, but you chose to be here to listen to current city leaders and future city leaders. I want to tell you, I think, and just really, I want to have a little fun with all my fellow candidates. How many here believe that the economy is probably our biggest issue facing the city right now? Show me hands. Throw them up there. You think the economy is the biggest? I think we all agree the economy is probably one of the biggest issues facing this city. It's about jobs. It's about who's working and who's not working. We need people on the city council who can make decisions, who can make businesses come here. The current city council and the previous administration under Meeker, they have built plenty of things downtown, but they haven't filled them. We need somebody who's willing to go out, recruit the businesses, ask them to come to Raleigh and take a look. You know, the movie was Field of Dreams. They said if you build it, they will come. I say if you recruit them, they will come. And honestly, I'm the kind of candidate who will go to a business somewhere else and say, please come check out our city. We have great educated people. We have strong people who are willing and have a desire to work. So if you elect me as a city councilman, I promise you I'll do you proud, and I'll take care of business where it needs to be. Thank you.
Well, I too want to thank the League of Women Voters and WakeUp Wake County for the opportunity to speak, and thank you all for coming out this evening. I want to begin by saying I don't believe the economy is the biggest issue. Economies come and they go, and I've been on the council in good economies and bad, and what really counts is not what the current condition of the economy is how you lead in that condition, how you deal with what comes to you, and how you make the best of it for all the citizens of Raleigh. And so in my last 6 years on council, I have what I think is a very solid record of service to the citizens of Raleigh, both in terms of strengthening neighborhoods, protecting our precious environmental and natural resources, preserving our cultural heritage, keeping the cost of living low and the quality of our services high, and providing for a very high quality of life for the citizens who are here now and for citizens in the future. That takes foresight, that takes leadership, it takes cooperation, it takes dealing with whatever economic situation may be presented to you, but I'm very proud of where we are. The national rankings all tell us that we're #1 in jobs, #1 in careers, #1 in quality growth, lowest taxes, highest quality of living. That's not just campaign promises, that's a record that I hope you'll let me continue to serve you and benefit you and future generations come October 11th. Thank you.
I'd also like to say thank you to the League of Women Voters and thank you to Wake Up for the invitation tonight, and thank you all so much for taking time out of your schedule to be here. I just really want to say that like Sig said, I just love Raleigh, and I'm so excited about where we are as a city. And I'm proud of what we have done as a team to make us consistently the #1 city across the country. And I feel that I am the best choice to lead us into the future. As I said, I've been on the City Council for 4 years. I've been the chair of the Comprehensive Planning, been on a Budget and Economic Development Committee, served on everything from the Substance Abuse Advisory Council to Stormwater Management to the Falls Lake Rules. But I've also been a community leader, everything from PTA mom to the Wake County PTA Council. I've been a homeowners association president, and I know that all of those experiences together, combined with my business experience, I started a business in 2002 that now can operate in 33 states. And I know that I have the best combination of knowledge of how this city works with business experience. I am ready to be the mayor on day 1. There are 3 things that I want to just reinforce, and that is quality growth, our economic vitality, and the sense of place. We've talked about planning for growth. We've had it come. We've done a great job. We have a proven track record of making growth work for us. Jobs, I've started a small business, I brought in a small business program to the city that's really going to focus on helping people start and maintaining those small businesses, because that's how we're coming out of this recession. It's small businesses that are bringing jobs here. And really the sense of place. We love Raleigh, and it's all of those things. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, let me also thank you for hosting us this evening, for having the opportunity to meet you, to see you, and to have you hear a little bit about each of us. For me, this is a race about leadership, and I come to this with 30 years of successful business leadership. What's more important to me really has been my community leadership. I've served in more than 20 community enhancement organizations, and I recently finished a 10-year term on the Wake Med board for the Wake Med Health and Hospital System. The reason that's important is because it's a $3 billion organization with 8,000 employees. I've done small and I've done very large. I believe I have the most governance experience of any candidate. And I believe that there is a time today to really manage through these challenging times. Our citizens are struggling, some more than others. We have an opportunity to manage better than any other city, I believe, in the United States through these challenging times, but with a keen focus on the future that lies ahead of us, because I also believe we have the most opportunity ahead of us. But I don't think you can rest on what you did well in the past. It does not ensure success in the future. A few weeks ago, I published a plan called Moving Raleigh Forward, and I'm the only candidate that's done that. It's a series of strategies and solutions that really talk about jobs, the local economy, education, and fiscal stewardship. And it does not step away from the quality of life that we have today. In fact, it protects it and enhances it. So I ask for your vote and your support on October the 11th.
Thank you. I started out thanking you for coming, and I really want to end doing the same thing. As an obstetrician, I probably see the world a little differently than most people. As we enter a political campaign, there will be people who will tell you that you're very much different. But one of my fundamental tenets in life is that we're a whole lot more alike than we are different, and that's been true. I would tell you that a mother looks at her baby they're pretty much the same in Afghanistan as she does in Haiti as she does here in Raleigh, and I've worked at both hospitals. And I think that's really the number one tenet that I bring, that I think good leadership can help people to work together. One of the things I've really appreciated in running for office is just how hard the city council works. And I would say that to the people who've served and the people who are running. It is a hard job. It is really hard, and I hope we all appreciate that. I would say that, again, that one thing that I love Raleigh, but I just want to thank you again tonight, because if past trends continue, about 10% of people will vote in this election. And I think we're better than that. I think we can be better than that. And I hope your coming out tonight may inspire people. Again, from my perspective, I know that right now there are about 144,000 young men and women all around the world in some pretty lonely places. And one of the things they're really trying to promote is both for those people to have the right to vote and for people here to exercise their right to vote. So thank you very much.
Before we disperse, I just have a couple people I want to thank. I want to thank Louise and Elizabeth, who did such an outstanding job as timing. I want to thank the pastor who made this room available to us. Thank you very much. And I want to thank some other candidates who have, in a previous life, Lindy Brown, Don Mayel, and Josh Stein, who came out to hear what you all had to say. And I definitely think Raleigh has some of the best citizens in the state. I think your questions were great. I think we are very, very lucky to have such wonderful citizens to step forward and want to be our leaders. Thank you very much.
This has been the 2011 Raleigh City Council Candidate Forum, presented by WakeUp Wake County, the Wake County League of Women Voters, and the North Carolina Center for Voter Education. Election Day for Raleigh is October 11th. Early voting and same-day registration runs September 22nd through October 8th. To learn more about candidates for Raleigh City Council, please visit ncvoterguide.org. For more information on WakeUp Wake County, please visit wakeupwakecounty.org. For more information on the Wake County League of Women Voters, please visit lwvwake.org. And to learn more about the North Carolina Center for Voter Education, please visit ncvotered.com.